My job in the Technical Operations Department, MGM, is to maintain the library, to make sure that the film elements are well preserved. If they need restoration or fixing, we do that. And specifically, my job is to be in charge of what we call the vault print inventory. These are prints that are only allowed to be brought out for special occasions at festivals, tributes, at cinematheques, that kind of thing. Our library has more foreign language films than any of the other Hollywood studios. There were a lot of films that United Artists produced in the 60s and 70s, particularly, that I've been working on over the last few years. For Fistful of Dollars, I needed to contact the producer in Italy to try to get elements. Since MGM does not own the original negative, that's kept in Italy, I was trying to get new elements in order to be able to do what I would call a restored version. We wanted it to look as good as possible. Unfortunately, because of the distance and bureaucratic problems with Italy and that kind of thing, we were not able to get any brand new elements, but we had an older interpositive that was left over from the original release, and then we had an interpositive that was just made in the early 90s. So what I did with those was kind of take the best of both and use those to create the most complete version that we could. The version that you'll see on the DVD is slightly different from the theatrical version, not in the sense of having necessarily extra scenes, but these spaghetti westerns were all cut differently for different countries. And sometimes it's just a matter of a frame or two at the end of one shot. Sometimes it might be as much as a second or so, but there's not, in Fistful of Dollars anyway, there's not any extra material per se. It's just that some shots might be slightly longer or shorter than in the English version. The original material for Fistful of Dollars was not in what I would call mint condition. There had been some damage to the original negative. And there is a shot in the film that does contain a scene that, which you'll notice has some damage on it. But that's the way the original negative is, so there wasn't really anything we could do to improve it. But between the older interpositive that we had and the newer one that we had, we were able to make a really good version, and Triage did a great job. Triage is the lab that did the work for all the spaghetti westerns. Technoscope is a format, or was a format, it's not really used anymore that I know of, but rather than being the normal 4-per frame, which is standard, it was a 2-per format, and so it required a lot of work to go from an obsolete format into a newer one for us to work with. So Triage specializes in these older formats like Technoscope. They also do Technorama, VistaVision. That was the most intricate part of the project, actually, was converting from the 2-perf Technoscope to the 4-perf negative that we ended up making our prints from. People might be familiar with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That was the first project to come out, but we actually restored all of the 4 of the Leone films in order. So Fistful of Dollars was actually the first one that was done, and they were all done in Technoscope. So I certainly used Triage for all 4 of them. The main thing, really though, even more than the picture, might be the sound. That was more noticeably changed from the original. The original soundtrack recording was not very clean, and it had a lot of problems. Audio mechanics in Los Angeles worked on that, and they did a great job of cleaning that up. For Fistful of Dollars, the sound elements we had were what we call an English composite, meaning that it had the English dialogue, the music and effects, all married on one track together. The only other element we had was a music and effects mono track, which had the music and effects married to each other too. So there was only so much we could do in terms of stereoizing the sound, but I think they did a really great job. The fact that it's now in 5.1 has really improved the sound quality. Anyone who sees this DVD of Fistful of Dollars will certainly see it to its best advantage. To my knowledge, it's never looked this good, and I'm certain it's never sounded this good. So I have the feeling people will be able to appreciate it at its best.